एक साथ सर.
Yeah, all of you stay here.
No.
Sir, one sec.
लेना जैसा फ्लैश नहीं उठाइए.
Just a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, stay here, sir.
पहले फ्लैश कवर मत करिए.
हो गया.
Recreates the same history with the same film show which took place 117 years ago in the same city, with the same set of films, with the same company that launched the cinema in the world. And everybody knows the Lumiere brothers, when they began the first show of cinema, it was in Paris, and for some strange reason, it was in Indian Salon at the Grand Café in Hotel Scribe. The place still exists and is dedicated to the two gentlemen there. And if anybody travels to Paris, you would find two salons dedicated to the two gentlemen who created cinema, who invented cinema. And we are really fortunate to have Mr. Max Irrfan Lumiere with us, the grandson of from the family, to present the same set of films in the same city 117 years later. Let me introduce Mr. Basant Rathore. He is the Vice President of the Jagran Group, who is spearheading the initiative, and on his initiative, Mr. Max Lumiere is here today. Without losing further time, I would request Mr. Basant Rathore to say a few words, and then we get Mr. Lumiere to speak about what he is showing today.
We started the Jagran Film Festival 4 years back with a very clear view that there's great quality, a great amount of content being produced across the country today, across all languages, and this initiative was about taking this quality content to audiences spread across the country where no other film festival would take them to. And the intent was really to get people to appreciate cinema and cinematic art at its very best. And this is an initiative that's been there for the last 4 years. This year we've done 16 cities. Bombay is the 16th city for us. So this is probably the longest running festival that one would say. We've had over 400 screenings of cinema. We've had over 50,000 people who have come and attended the screenings. And we've shown films across some 25 odd languages, across 20 different countries. And this entire parts of North India is what we've really covered. We've started from Delhi in July, and it's a 3-month-long journey. 50 consecutive festival days is what this festival is all about. And therefore the expanse of the festival has been huge. We are extremely privileged and proud to have Mr. Lumiere with here tonight. And it's a historic moment from our point of view, as well as for the fact that after a century we have the same films coming back to India. Over to Mr. Max.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me to the festival. I am very happy to come to this festival. I will take the opportunity to tell you how cinema was invented by my grandfather. As Manoj told you, the first show of cinema in the world was in Hotel Scribe in the Indian Saloon on 23rd December 1895. Amazingly, Brother Lumiere were not attending to this show. It was only the father who realized that the cinema could be a very good thing, to a very good art. So he decided to make this presentation on the 23rd of December without Brother Lumiere, because both of them wanted to stay with their family just before Christmas. So what I will do is I will show you some equipment, the first, in fact, equipment made by Louis Lumiere after he invented the cinema. And after that, I will show you a few first films he made with his family. And not himself, because as he was running the camera, he is never on the film.
He was always behind the camera.
He was behind the camera. So he made a lot of films. At the beginning, there were only a box, you will see in a moment. There were only a box, with no visor. You say visor? No visor, no nothing. And nothing was existing. There were no traveling, no zoom, no nothing. Only a plain film. So to have the right angle and to make the film the right angle, it was difficult. And he was very good at that. You will see how.
Max, would you also like to talk about the length of the films in that era?
Well,
the length was very limited.
All the
Hardly
films
a minute.
were very limited and last about 45 seconds, no more than that, because it was not possible to find a film with a length over 22 meters, 20 to 22 meters, no longer than that. And people didn't know how to glue the films together. So it was only one length of film each time. So they must manage to finish the film exactly when needed. On top of it, you must realize that to make a film, which is some pictures taken one after the other, you need to make 20 pictures per second. You need a very sensitive emulsion. And emulsion at the beginning of this 19th century were very, very slow and not stable. Louis Lumière was asked by his father to find an emulsion which was quick enough and very stable. He found it, but he made it with test and so on, and find an emulsion which is still in use was still in use up to 1940.
Yeah.
And when he invented that emulsion, he was 17 years old.
That's quite a commendable thing.
Yeah.
Would you also like to talk about what was the precursor to this invention? What happened before they invented this equipment? How did they arrive at this?
Well, it arrived because at the end of the 19th century, people were very keen about pictures. There were a big competition between photographers, like his father, painters, he was a painter as well, and people were very excited about moving pictures. And the father of the brother Lumière, again, asked his sons to find a way to show pictures moving to many people. At that time, there was only one machine which can show a machine to only one man at a time, and a very short sequence of a man moving. So this is how it started. And Louis Lumière think about this for a few weeks, and then he found the way to make it. But as all this invention, once he had found it, he found the idea, he had to realize it. And he did realize it. And when after the prototype, you will see, he made a few movies which were good enough to him. Then he released the cinema. And it improved very, very quickly.
As you know, after the scientific invention, it has to be monetized. You know, the opportunity has to be commercialized. The money has to be made out of it. So what happened after that? How did the Lumière brothers turn this venture into a commercial venture?
Well, they started the commercial venture with the screening, but after that he sold a few cameras, but very soon it becomes spectacles with artists and so on, and then he completely left the cinema and start to work on something else. The something else is color pictures, which took him 5 years to realize. But he did not commercialize this, and all the money made by the family, and they made a very big amount of money, was made with the new emulsion when he was 17.
Would you also like to talk about
life and his brother's life? And this, house, this museum, is made in a castle, which was the last building made by Antoine Lumière later.
It's like when the films and the projection system was being sent to Australia, it landed in Bombay because of a storm. In the same way we know that what happened in Moscow when the films were being shown, there was also a great catastrophe happening on the Red Square and something was shot.
I didn't quite understand you. After